Well, hey, everybody, welcome back. My name is Scott. This is my good friend, Nathan. And as always, we are talking through what we think are some pretty good books. And we are relating the content of these books to recovery, because we both work in recovery ministry here at Christ Community Church. We offer Celebrate Recovery on Monday nights. And we also offer divorce care on Tuesday nights and care coaching and a whole slew of things. So if you feel like, man, I'd like to hear more about that, please feel free to reach out to one of us. You can reach us at care, C-A-R-E, at visitccc.com. That sound like a kind of a radio commercial?
It did.
Maybe I missed my calling. All right, so
for the little musical outro.
And by the way, laughter is a good thing. We're about to learn.
Yes.
All right.
Right.
So we just met a little more of our quota, our laughter quota.
Yep. That is
all right.
The intelligence one too.
That's right. So we are working through the book called Leading with Emotional Courage. And that's by author Peter Bregman. And we are currently on chapter 10. So in this session, we'll do chapters 10, 11, and 12. And chapter 10 is be strategic and intentional. And we're going to talk about the author talks about 5 steps to investing your energy more wisely. So Nathan, if you would, why don't you walk us through those 5 steps?
There we go. First, I'm going to start off with a study that actually Tom Rath did, and you know that name, right? Because he was big on strengths, right?
Did he write the strengths book?
No, he didn't write it, but he was involved with it. And he did a couple other books, but one had to do with energy. And he asked 10,000 people, did you have a great deal of physical energy yesterday?
Yes.
And only 11% said they did. That is terrible. That is a terrible percentage. And basically, he's saying that means 89% of people are operating without any energy to spare. And in fact, they're operating at a deficit probably, meaning they're probably tired most days. That's a lot of people. Now he says you can either fill your energy tank or you can actually be more strategic about it. This is definitely something that I talk about even with strengths itself, because everybody does have a very much energy flow to the day. So it'll go up. It's really high in the beginning of the day. You know, typically we see the 1 to 2 o'clock or 2 to 3 as like, man, my energy's a little bit low, and then it can start going back up again. But it really is important to make sure that you are recognizing the flow of your energy. So that is number 1. He says the first step is notice your energy level. Noticing your energy level means that you are aware of when you have the most of yourself to give. This is why some books say, do your important tasks when you have the most energy. For some people, that's like really early in the morning, like 7. For some people, it's maybe like 10 o'clock. But that's the first one, is to notice the energy and the flow in the day.
And even encourages you to set an alarm.
Yeah.
To check in.
And it should go to show you how to really maximize how you feel about the day as well. Because if you feel like you've gotten the important task done, you will often feel at least you've been successful. If you've just bounced around and you knew that there was some important things you didn't get to, you often feel like that was not as successful of a day, right?
Yep.
And that's what number 2 is actually about.
Okay, tell us
what matters to you. You need to know what your priorities are. You need to know just the things that you know, if nothing else gets done, what set does is a non-negotiable, and then do those according to your energy level. So number 3, plan wise energy investment. To me, I do tell people there are things that can increase your energy as well. For instance, if after lunch you're feeling low and you need to plan it wisely, you can actually go for a walk. You can actually reinvigorate your physical energy by doing something that requires actually physical energy, like walking around the building. For instance, so like people who might run like you in the morning, or I don't know if you run in the mornings or afternoons, but
in the morning.
so that requires energy, and yet building that up over time brings you energy too. It is a giver of energy as well, because
Absolutely.
you're telling your body that it needs to be used. And if you're telling your body that it doesn't ever need to be used, meaning you're only sitting in the cubicle or sitting down the whole time, your body will match that energy level. Oh, we're never standing up, we're never walking, so we don't need that much energy. That's why people in cubicles get so much more tired and even depressed, because they're not telling their body that they need to use it. So that's just planning your energy out well, investing your energy wisely. What things are important? Should I invest in energy when it comes to my kids, into time with my wife, making sure that she doesn't get the burned out part of me, but the part that will have good energy for her too. Number 4, most importantly, plan where not to invest. So again, we've talked about elimination can be the greatest form of optimization. That's from Atomic Habits again. But this is where you should notice things that do not bring you life. And this is, from a strengths perspective, extremely important. So if your strength, so you might not have a communication strength, but maybe the whole time your whole job is communicating the whole day. Like that's not a good usage of energy. First of all, if that's your job, you should probably find a different one. But it means, like for you with relational talents, you can actually sit with people over and over again, and it doesn't necessarily drain you. But I know that when you're doing some of the Compassion Fund Excel sheets, right? You're slowly draining. So what needs to happen is you limit the amount of time that you're spending on that. So rather than just trying to plug away for hours, you need to pick out 20 minutes here and there and hit it hard and fast, see how much you can get done, and then move to something more energy giving, right?
Or delegate where possible.
Which is definitely the first strategy point for sure. 5 is don't spend much time thinking about this. This is where, if you're trying to be so detailed oriented, that can actually drain you as well. There is a level of tension here where you need to notice the energy and just make some minor changes here and there. Kind of like, it's kind of like when you're cooking, and if you're making a soup and there's absolutely no salt, and you just add a little bit, right? You don't dump a whole bunch in there and be like, oh, well, this should fix it. So, but also don't think about it like you don't need to get a measuring cup out and carefully measure the salt. You just kind of sprinkle some in there. And so it just means notice your day, make little adjustments here and there, and you'll get closer and closer to a really primed energy day.
So pay attention to your energy levels.
There you go.
All right. Well, then that takes us to chapter 11, which is don't lose yourself in pursuit of becoming yourself. So there is what you were just saying, I believe, leads right into this. Don't try too hard.
Yeah. In fact, the tagline is take your life back. I really liked the chapter. I know you did too, because he talks about Sabbath being very important to him and his family, because I believe it's his wife who is Jewish. Maybe I assume he's Jewish too, but
I believe so.
But recognizing how to examine what life means and what it should look like should show you the reasons for for how you maintain its value, right? We will always do the things that we value the most. So if we don't value Sabbath, we won't do it. If we highly value productivity, because according to him, he says, well, the promises of crossing things off the list falsely bolster my self-worth, my self-confidence with proof of productivity. And he's saying then we lose our boundaries, we lose ourselves, because we're valuing work, not because we value the work, because we value the sense of self-worth it's bringing us. And that's why he's saying, you got to take your life back. Don't lose yourself in the pursuit of becoming yourself. So don't try and make this whole book about tasks to do or the right things to do. It's really about noticing how life should be defined. It's rhythms. That's why he says, find the songs to play when you need to mentally take a break, or writing in the journal, the things that we've talked about often.
Yeah. Don't read this book and become so productive that you are no longer you, in a sense.
Yeah.
Which is very possible.
Absolutely.
My mind goes there, that's for sure.
Yeah. So especially for people, because I believe this is still building confidence. For people who don't have confidence, they want to make it happen. They want to get it right. And a lot of times it is making some changes, but the tension is letting it unfold as well, in accepting your energy levels for what they are, accepting your strengths, and living into them, not trying to force them.
Yeah. So I am starting to smile because I'm thinking of our next chapter. How will you measure success? And he talks a lot about measuring success through a metric I don't think I've ever thought of as a success measurement, which is laughter. Right. And he talks about a conversation in the beginning with his mother where she commented, people don't laugh as much anymore. Yeah. And as he thought about it, he said, you're right. And his conclusion is, you can't laugh when you are distracted. And we are a very distracted culture. Yeah. And so it's that similar idea of unplugging so that you might be in a position. It's not forced laughter. Yeah. He's not talking about that. And not even you and me sitting here trying to tell each other jokes. Right. But the idea of putting yourself in a position where you're more likely to enjoy and laugh. And laughter is one of his metrics for measuring success.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about it in one or two other books for sure. I mean, even Hesed Joy include laughter and emotional intelligence. I think it's great because it means you need space in your life to actually feel like you can laugh. Space means that you are hearing things from a different perspective that you never thought of, or because we're not talking about the cynical, the crude, put people down, that kind of laughter. We're talking about just taking joy at life, or something that's funny about your strength, or some idiosyncrasies about the way you think or the way you do things, and just having that space means you're not being crowded, right, by the distractions, by the task lists that you have to do. And so I think it's a great level of measurement myself, because you will laugh, especially when you're feeling confident to do so as well.
That's right. And I was just reading this morning, I believe in Luke 10, it describes Jesus. At that time, it says, almost in passing, at that time, Jesus, full of joy, said, I praise you, Father, Lord of heaven and earth, because you have, and he goes on to teach, but they describe him it almost is disconnected, but you're like, wait, Jesus full of joy. And you think about the humor of Christ, wouldn't that have been amazing?
Yeah. I one of my favorite pictures of Jesus. I mean, there's so many different ones, although I do feel like the majority are more serious, like he's just upset or frustrated or super deep in thought, or of course, the Passion of the Christ. But one of my favorites is actually when he's laughing. I do feel like he probably laughed a lot.
Absolutely. Well, really enjoying this book. I encourage you to pick it up. Again, it's by Peter Bregman, Leading with Emotional Courage. And we will pick it up next time with chapters 13, 14, and 15. In the meantime, love to have you join us on Monday nights at Celebrate Recovery at 7 o'clock, or Christ Community Church if you need a church home and you live in the Westchester area. Love to have you guys. But thanks for joining us today, and we will see you again on the next session.
All right, guys. See you later.